Donald Trump is planning to make the US the crypto capital of the planet. And besides the tokens that are US based, which I made a separate video on, there's another sector that will be the clear beneficiary from this. And in this video, I want to show you what are the tokens, but also most importantly, how you can spot them on your own, do a very quick fundamental / technical research and find out and spot which could be the biggest benefits. And also I'm going to show you some wild cards in the space that I believe could make some noise in the future. And the first pick actually might surprise you a little bit, but it's Ethereum. Why is Ethereum? Well, first of all, it's funny. I don't even know if that's legal, but I guess nowadays everything's legal. The president's son, Eric Trump, is already posting about you don't have enough Ethereum, or you need to buy more Ethereum, and so on. So and if he's saying that, this means he has something in mind and he knows something. Or maybe he just bought this wick down here at like 2K and wants to pump his back. But I believe there's a lot more to it. Ethereum has been underperforming for quite a long time, but I believe there are one or two narratives that could play out in its benefits, especially in the real-world assets play. And the first and most important is that potentially the ETFs currently that we have on Ethereum could be allowed at some point to stake the Ethereum that they own, which means they will be gaining a passive yield from the staking of Ethereum. It might be 2%, it might be 4%, depends on the moment. But I think that is extremely valuable for the investor itself and for Ethereum overall, because this means that there will be more incentives for people to buy Ethereum, and especially the ETFs, and to hold them, because they will be also getting some passive yield. And also it makes for good headlines. I don't think it will be a game changer in the space unless there's enough interest in crypto overall and in Ethereum specifically. But I do believe that in a bull market, in a setting where people want to buy more crypto, such a narrative for Ethereum will be very powerful. And another narrative on Ethereum could be that a lot of the projects that we're going to discuss are related to Ethereum, or their token is on Ethereum, just because this is like the more decentralized, more secure approach to use Ethereum instead. For example, Solana maybe is a little bit more centralized, and yes, it's faster, but I think Ethereum for the mom and pop investor might be more attractive, and for the big boys that want to do like real world asset plays, it might make more sense. And I think this is also a good moment to explain just for a little bit what exactly is a real world asset, because for me, it doesn't exactly scream that Ethereum is a real world asset, because technically it's a blockchain, and even if you get the yield, it will still be the blockchain. It won't be digitalizing any real assets like your house or whatever, which technically by definition this should be the real world asset play in crypto. However, I think that as long as this has an ETF, and as long as this can provide in the future maybe some yield for those ETF holders, this falls under the category of an asset class that it's real for the investors, and that are making some money. But enough about Ethereum, because I think there are a lot more interesting plays and some actually very obvious and simple plays. The first, and I would say most interesting, is Ondo. I've been trading in and out of Ondo. I've been talking about this on this channel for quite a bit of time, and I believe Ondo is now at a spot where it still looks very bullish, and it's at a very interesting area where if it starts breaking out, this is the weekly, you can see the structure here very clearly. So we had retrace of this move, we got to the 618, a little bit below on the week of the liquidation day the other day. And now if we start seeing closes on the weekly just above 1.4, or if we jump to the daily, I marked out this level. Let me just clean this up. On my chart, I have also this level as a kind of breaking point, like 1.6. If this starts accelerating above that, I think it will have another leg. And exactly the same thing happened here. So it had an explosive move, it had a big correction, and as you can see, it took a while for this range to play out. But then once it broke out of it, it started trading really nicely. And why Ondo? First of all, Ondo has quite interesting products, and you can go on their website and check them, but they pretty much have this yield-bearing USD coin, or whatever you want to call it. Its current APY is like 4.3. And they have different stuff like the US Treasury Fund. And actually, in order to use their services, you need to KYC. So it's pretty serious. It's not like, you know, you're buying something random. There are real assets behind it, because treasuries are considered real assets compared to, you know, shitcoins. But most importantly, this project is backed by BlackRock. And as you can probably tell, BlackRock is like the biggest asset manager in the world. And that's it, actually. You know, this is the most bullish case and scenario for Ondo, that, you know, we still keep the bull market going. We have a regulatory environment that is crypto friendly, and we have the biggest asset investor, you know, with a token, pretty much in a way, that could go up. And on top of this, there's one more thing, that they had a big unlock. Let me just show you, and why, and how you can do the fundamental thing very easily. So they had a very big unlock on their tokens somewhere around here, because, you know, as every typical token that has backing, you know, they're unlocking their token, and, you know, they're trying to make money. And everybody thought that, you know, this will dump significantly because it was a huge unlock. However, as you can see, this was the bottom. And what happens is that people dump their token in anticipation of this unlock, but unlocks usually in bull markets are memes, because nobody's selling. They're actually using the moment to start manipulating price, and obviously we had a run up after the token unlock. And this brings me to the point of how do you pick the winners? Like, why they're like on the real world asset page on CoinMarketCap, there are a shit ton of tokens. There are like 2 pages of tokens that you can go through here. And obviously you can go find the lower caps, and I'll show you one in this video. And you can, you know, choose to invest somewhere like very shady, or you can choose to put Avalanche in here, because I don't even know why Avalanche is on the real asset page. But I think the winners are pretty obvious, and you don't need to dive that deep into the fundamentals and into all kinds of stuff. You need to have a good chart and a good narrative. I think these are the 2 things. And in this case, Ondo is covering that because they already have a product, and as I said, they have BlackRock on their side, and they're listed on Coinbase, which I think is also significant. So if you want to choose just one fundamental play and a real world asset play, I would choose Ondo. For me, I've been choosing Ondo and one more token, but this one is definitely the most obvious and the best performing one for now. The other one that I wanted to mention is, let's go to OM. So this is Mantra DAO. I've missed this several times now, but it's been one of the cleanest trending real world asset tokens ever. Like, first time I was looking into this was somewhere around here. Like, it was coiling up really nicely, and I didn't catch the breakout, and, you know, I didn't chase it after that. And then in this range right here on the top, now after this move was completed, you see that we consolidate. Usually what happens, especially this time around, a lot of altcoins, when they have their pump and they just go down 90%. This didn't. This had a pretty nice range, retested it a few times. My alert here didn't trigger, which is super annoying. And you see what happened when it reclaimed the range low. It just blasted, and it's currently still running really, really hard, this token. But I believe that any retrace like we had the other day on the liquidation event again is a very good opportunity to buy. And this is also another thing, like, from all those tokens, besides like quick scan on the narrative and quick understanding what exactly they do, and I'm just going to tell you what I'm looking mostly into, you can really clearly see first the strength in the chart on this one and also on Ondo, but also you can tell by what happened the other day. Like, Ondo was down huge on the day, and then it reversed. And this is crazy. Like, it was down 20% after being down, you know, several days in a row, and then it blasted up to like 16% on a day, and it closed 12% green. So crazy. It was a crazy day in general, but it's a very good indicator of which are the good performing tokens. And OM did pretty much the same, as you can see. Very powerful. And this thing is a L1. So basically what they're trying to do is be the ecosystem / layer 1 for real world assets. So if somebody wants to do something and tokenize something, maybe, as I said, a house, security, some kind of securities, or art or anything else, they can help you out, because they're also, keeping the regulatory requirements as they claim, but every project that you look into their website and dive a little bit deeper, you see that pretty much they're talking big words, but in practice, everything, you can see it in the chart. And this is one of the most bullish charts. Ondo and OM are quite big. They're like in the top 30 right now of market caps in all crypto. So just keep this in mind. But again, I think they're very well positioned place. And also, just one more thing concerning the fundamental side is that you can easily spot the winners when they are specifically like kind of infrastructure plays. So both Ondo, this one, we're going to talk about a little bit about a few other projects. They're also like either marketplaces or L1s, things that other projects that want to have real world asset plays will launch with them. And for example, Ondo is even building a tokenization platform. So this is huge. So this will where the tokenized products will be traded, and this comes for stocks, bonds, and ETFs. And I can tell you this is very powerful because, first of all, for example, in my country, we're not allowed to buy American ETFs. And if there's a place on chain from a trusted provider that I can do this, and I can have ETFs that I want to buy, like the S&P and so on, that would be great. That would unlock a lot of possibilities and opportunities. And imagine all over the world for people that don't want to have brokerages accounts, or their brokers don't operate, or they're super expensive. These will be really cool products, and they're not that far away. So just keep this in mind. Let's go to the next play, which is Parcel. Parcel is a token I own. It's a Solana-based token, so a little bit different. But I was buying it somewhere in this range on daily. Maybe we can see it better. It broke down. I still hold it. As you can see, it's a very different chart compared to the other two. Why am I showing this to you? Because I honestly like their product. They're a marketplace for real estate in the US. So you can bet if the market will go up or down on a certain state. It's a really cool concept. They had a good airdrop and everything, and actually it looks very professional. Like the whole project looks very good. However, the price action is really shit right now. I'm pretty much stuck in this because I didn't manage it properly out of the range. However, now it seems like maybe we have found the bottom, but again, this is me hoping for a reversal here. But I'm putting this on your radar because I believe it's a decent project to have. And if you see the weekly, like, we are pretty much at the bottom of the price action. So if it doesn't bounce from here, I'll probably have to just take my losses. However, if we put some kind of structure in here, and maybe some accumulation, and then a potential breakout, maybe if you like it, and if you want to have some exposure to lower cap tokens, I think this could also be quite an interesting play. I'm just putting it out there, but you can see clearly also the pattern here. And why I think it might reverse. So we had a downtrend, obviously. Then we had a push to the upside. It's listed on Coinbase, by the way. This was the wick on the listing of Coinbase. And now we have another leg lower. So potentially maybe we look for another leg higher somewhere in the future. That's, again, what I hope for. But this wouldn't be my first choice if you have zero real-world asset exposure and you want to get into the space. The next one I want to show you is Polytrade. This is, again, pretty bad looking chart currently. I've traded this in and out. It's a marketplace, again, for real world asset. They have, I think it's already operational even. So it's like the product they have is good. However, the chart looks like shit. Also, however, this thing is actually quite cheap. It's a very low valuation. So I'm putting it here as a like a wild card because it's quite interesting. You know, here you could see another pattern emerge for accumulation, and potentially it doesn't require that much to move this thing. And what is kind of giving me hope, I was really hoping that this will kind of not make a new low from this kind of accumulation here, but it did. However, it didn't get that low. It didn't retrace the entire move. So this is what's giving me a little bit more hope. But again, this is not a thing that I would buy now. However, if you see, for example, Ondo starting to run hard, and if you see maybe OM starting to run hard, then you wait for this to catch a narrative, and maybe, you know, after some shows of strength and change in market structure, you could bet that this could be the next one to run. Because what people do in crypto is, you know, they bet on the bigger boys, and then if the narrative keeps running, they'll go down the list and find some other small tokens to bet their money on. But you need to be really strict with management here on the trade. And I'm not saying go buy this one, but I'm just also showing you the way you can do this and where you can find winners. And maybe there are lower cap tokens that look better than this one. And if you find some, please share them with me, because I'm always interested in finding something new to put some money into if there's a setup. So yeah, Polytrade is quite an interesting one. Another one which is quite big and popular is Clearpool. I just want to zoom out a bit because this is an older token, as you can see. It launched at the absolute worst time during the last bull market, pretty much at the end of it. Had a pump, it had a pretty significant pump. And now obviously it's pretty much dead in the water for years, and now it's starting to trend up. I like this weekly structure, I gotta be honest, although we're seeing here that, you know, this is not, you know, this price action here, it's just terrible. But now it seems like it's going to keep the structure even after the dump on the weekly, and that's actually quite good. I'm looking at this level. I personally wouldn't be buying Clearpool just because I don't want to have like 10 tokens on the real asset play. But if we start seeing closes here on the weekly above this level, and then I would look for something to confirm this as support now and retrace and change the structure again into a bit more bullish and something like this. Because as you can see here, we're still downtrending. You know, so on the weekly it's looking good, but here we're still downtrending, and potentially cutout points will be somewhere below here because this cluster seems like a good moment. And potentially if we put some more market structure here, you'll be able to cut it even earlier if it doesn't play out. But this one has been interesting because it's been developing nicely. They have a marketplace. They also are working on a blockchain for real world assets, so they're also getting into this. You can see the total value locked. They're providing pretty much loans for institutions, which is quite interesting as well. So very interesting project with quite interesting structure. But again, it's just not one that I personally like for now. But of course, this might change. We'll see what else happens in the space and you know, how this develops. And another one, and the last one, I think, let me just check. Yeah, this is the last one that I wanted to show you, and it's actually like the second wild card, but probably the most interesting project for me right now, because it's called Chintai Network. It just looks very clean. Like, for example, the problem I have with Mantra DAO OM is that it's already quite high and the market cap is quite high, and I don't really like it that much. But if I want something that it's a lot lower market cap and has clean market structure without a lot of back holders, I would look into this token. Just because look how clearly it trades. This is the daily. It hasn't really had a massive downtrend. You could argue this was it, and it held a nice level here around 30 cents or so. And now it's starting to trend upwards. And if you see this thing back at the lows, somewhere in this range, because this could take a while to play out, nobody knows, or you could see it breaking out here, I would say it's not a terrible play, because everything in the middle could be quite choppy, as you can see here by the price action. Also, the range is like 160% bottom to the top. So quite volatile if you decide to buy here and sustain potentially 60% loss, because pretty much this is where the trade would be invalidated. So I'll be patient with this. I have it on my main watch list. Haven't bought any. The actual product that they have is also quite very interesting. They're using many words, but the way I understand it is that they're pretty much giving you the opportunity that you have something. Let's say you have a massive building somewhere downtown, and you want to tokenize it, so you want to spread it out for whatever reason to gain some capital, or give people the opportunity to invest in real estate, and you can do this through them. So how do they do it? Do they have their own layer 1 or 2? I haven't personally done the research, and I'll tell you why. Because I don't think it matters that much at this stage, and that's, I think, very important. As I told you, go back to the basics. Is it something that many projects can use? Yes. You can book a demo, tokenize your whatever asset. Does the chart look good? Yes. Is it in the right narrative? And when the narrative hits, if it hits, then just find an entry. So it might be a breakout here. As I said, might be, it might be a retest here of the lows. And that's it. You don't have to overcomplicate it. You don't have to get married to the token. You don't have to keep it forever because you believe this is the future of finance. No, just take it as a trade with the right circumstances and just book your profits. That's everything, guys. If you have any other tokens or narratives you want me to look at, feel free to let me know. See you in the next one.